It's time for another verb of the day. Today's verb is enhance. Let's take a moment and review some of the definitions or the ways that we use this verb. The verb enhance can be used to mean to improve the quality, the value, or the extent of something. This is a word that is used in many service-based businesses, right? Where we're serving customers. We want their experience to be great. So you'll hear many people talking about improving that experiencing the quality maybe of products as well, or the quality of service. A second way enhance gets used sometimes can mean to intensify or increase something. We'll review and see some more examples of these two definitions a little later on in the video. But for now, you should know that enhance is a regular verb. To make the progressive form of this verb, you need to drop the E on the end before you add ing. That forms enhancing. The past tense and participle forms of this verb can be made by just adding D, since this verb already ends in an E. Now, our past tense and participle form is going to be pronounced like this: enhanced, enhanced. Okay. So here, the ED sound, or the ED letters, are making a T sound. And the reason for that is our verb enhance ends with an S sound, and S's are unvoiced. So the ED here makes a T sound. That can always be a little confusing, so I like repeating that and going over it with my students. I should also note, we're not adding an extra syllable as we say it. So the base verb, enhance, has 2 syllables. The past tense and the participle forms of the verb will also be 2 syllables. Enhanced. Okay. Now, there aren't any phrasal verbs that we need to study today, so we can move on and practice using our verb of the day in a couple different ways. We're going to practice making sentences in the imperative and in the simple present. Let's start with the imperative. Many times people will know this as a command. So this is where you're either verbally or in writing telling someone to do an action. And most of the time, as we begin to make affirmative or positive and negative sentences, we always start with a subject and then we form our verb. But with the imperative, this is rather unique. We do not have a stated subject. So the subject, we say, is implied, which means you understand, right? It's either you plural or you singular, depending on how many people that I'm speaking or communicating with. So to make an affirmative sentence, I'm going to begin with just the base verb. So an example of this might be, enhance the photo so that we can see more details. Okay, so here we might be changing that sort of intensity or the quality of the photo. Right? You might think of this as sort of like being able to zoom in or repixelate the photo there. Okay. Now, if I want to make a negative imperative, so here I'm telling someone not to do a particular action, I start with do not, and then I use the base verb. I can also combine do not into the contraction don't. Here's another example. Don't enhance your body because someone else suggested it. So sometimes this verb gets used to refer to procedures that people do to change their appearance. They might be trying to make certain body parts smaller, maybe others bigger, kind of depends on what is valued. And that sentence here is telling someone don't do that because someone else suggested it, particularly if it's a new significant other, right? That's not a good reason. This should be because if you're going to do it, you want to do it, not because of someone else. Now you're going to notice a black box where I normally have yes or no questions here, and that's because we don't have questions in the imperative. These are commands. We're telling someone to either do or not do an action. Now, sometimes as I talk about this in class, I have students that say, oh my goodness, Katie, that feels rude to just tell someone to do something. So if you ever want to soften this or make it a bit more polite, you could add the word please to the beginning of the sentence, or you could put please at the end of the sentence, but you only need it in one place. Now let's move on and review how we make sentences in the simple present. We use the simple present to talk about our habits and our routines. We also use it to discuss facts. And the thing that most of my students find the most difficult to remember about the simple present is how our verb changes based on what the subject is. So when we go to make an affirmative or positive sentence, I'm going to start with my subject, and if that subject is I, you, we, or they, then I just use the base verb. So no suffixes, no special endings on the end of that verb. But if my subject is he, she, or it, then I need to add an S to the end of this verb. You can see that in my first example here. Your green top really enhances your eyes. That could also go back to that meaning of kind of intensifying, right? Your eye color becomes more visible. Maybe it makes it stand out more. So here we're talking about a shirt, maybe a blouse, some type of article of clothing that's being worn on the top of our bodies here. So because it's one, that's like saying it, and that's why you see an S on the end of the verb, right? If I had made it plural, green tops, right, then I could say really enhance your eyes. I would take away the S because now I have two or more. That's like saying they. Let's move on and talk about negative sentences in the simple present. Okay? To do this, I again start with my subject. And if the subject is I, you, we, or they, I use do, not, and then the base verb. If my subject is he, she, or it, I use does not, and then the base verb. Notice I'm not adding an S to the end of the verb here in the negative. Let's take a look at another sentence. That seasoning doesn't enhance the dish. Here we might really be saying, oh, that doesn't make it better. It doesn't improve it. Okay? Now let's look at how we make yes or no questions in the simple present. To do this, you start with do or does. Whichever form matches your subject, that subject comes next, and then you use the base verb. Again, we don't add an S to the end of the verb here in our yes or no questions. The only time I'm adding an S to the end of the verb is in the affirmative when my subject is he, she, or it. Let's take a look at my last one here, my last example. Do those supplements enhance brain improvement? So there are many different kinds of vitamins or different pills that people think like, this is going to prevent me from forgetting things, or this is going to make my memory stronger and better, right? So here someone's asking this question, does it improve kind of the quality? Now, let's move on and talk about some words that are related to our verb enhance. And the first word we're going to discuss now is the noun form of this word. The noun we pronounce enhancement. Enhancement. So when we use this word as a noun, we're really referring to that increase in quality, value, or extent, or the improvement in quality, or the value of something. An example of this might be, the organization received a technology enhancement grant. Okay, so what this sentence is suggesting is that this is probably a nonprofit organization. It's being given money to improve the organization's technology. Maybe that means buying some new computers, buying some new software, or some other tools that will improve the quality of their technology. Another related word you might encounter is the noun enhancer. This refers to something that is used to either strengthen or improve the quality of something. I feel like I've heard this noun enhancer used often in connection to skincare, right? Again, makeup, those types of products. So, an example of how I heard it used in an advertisement. Someone said, "This is the best skin enhancer I've ever tried." Right? So, whatever the serum or lotion was that people were putting on their face, these people were suggesting that it has improved kind of the quality or the appearance of their skin. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you have a great day.